Viewers, Times Now can today tell all its viewers that the Congress party is again under the scanner of the Income Tax Department. Even as the Gandhi family is being probed in connection with the Herald scam, fresh details of alleged unaccounted cash reaching Akbar Road from a major private donor in Madhya Pradesh and beyond have been unearthed. The sensational findings of a probe into more than 100 crore cash cache conducted by the Income Tax Department have been compiled in a 408-page report, viewers, that is in Times Now's possession. This report that is also with Times Now contains a series of incredibly detailed digital evidence in the form of WhatsApp messages, conversations, and geolocation tags that not only establish the deposit of the vast sums of money at Akbar Road, but also establish who was the conduit that carried the money to the Congress headquarters and also who received it there. Additionally, viewers, and we will come to that in just a few moments, this report also mentions the role of Kamal, Nath, and several of his close associates, both within and outside of the Congress party, who are also being investigated for their role in providing, facilitating, and transferring unaccounted cash, quote unquote. These are the words of the Income Tax Department, not Times Now, not Rahul Shivshankar, but this has come out, viewers, in investigation. This is very, very serious. This voluminous report forms the basis of a series of questions that the Income Tax Department has posed to the Congress, but the party hasn't, according to the authorities, been able to furnish an adequate explanation or response till date. In fact, the Income Tax Department's report suggests that the Congress party has not been forthcoming in its responses to the summons and show cause notices it has been sent. We'll come to that in just a few moments, but the cash deposited at Akbar Road in 3 tranches. Madhav Das Gopalakrishnan joins me right now. Madhav, these 3 tranches spread over a period of really 2.5 to 3 years. Details the amounts of money, and there were many such deposits, weren't there? This was not just 1 or 2, but several.
Absolutely, Rahul. See, the amount of 106 crores that you referred to, as it is big enough to raise questions about where it's coming, for what purpose it's being given in. But when you add to the fact that this has reportedly, as per the reports, come in cash, then that raises even more eyebrows. As you rightly put it, it's not in one single transaction, but at least 3 separate tranches, which include multiple transactions that have been listed over here from the date of 13th of February 2019 to October 4, 2019. This is tranche 1 that we're talking about. 74 crores, 62 lakhs is the amount that is contained in tranche 1. If you go to tranche 2, this is between the dates of August 2016 to September 2016. The amount over here is 26 crores 50 lakhs. This is as per these dates that have been listed over here. This is straight out of that particular report. Tranche 3 is from the period between April 2017 to September 2019, and it's a smaller tranche of about 5 crore 22 lakhs.
Yes.
But all of this raising the serious question as to why this money was given. And when you add to the mix the fact that the Congress party hasn't been able to explain it, at least as per the income tax report and what is contained within, it specifically maintains that no answers have come in from the Congress party, raising some serious questions about what this money really was. What was the real purpose of it?
Well, Madhav, there is also very important a statement made to the Income Tax Department, which forms a part really of this entire report, which goes into 408 pages. So it's very voluminous. Times Now has accessed it. Now, Madhav, in this, PV Sunil comes across as an individual who seems to be really a person in the know, a person who's central really to the investigation. Who is PV Sunil? How does he fit this equation?
Well, Rahul, the fact is that ordinarily just these kind of diary entries or any kind of such transactions on themselves would perhaps require more corroborative evidence. But when you add to the fact that PV Sunil, who has explained what this money was being given to and has also got WhatsApp transactions as well as messages and other details, including the called detailed records, all of which corroborate the fact that this money was indeed given into to the Congress party. Now, this is is the name of the person who delivers the cash at the 24 Akbar Road. And this is as far as the statements are concerned. He says, I personally delivered cash at 24 Akbar Road. What is 24 Akbar Road? We all know that is the Congress Party's headquarters, AICC headquarters. The answer that he had given, that this cash to Mr. Varghese, who's the cashier at the AICC, somebody who's been the cashier for several decades. And this is the specific point that has been made in PV Sunil's statement to the Income Tax Department, and it's part of that dossier. Also, he's being asked to explain what is 24 Akbar Road clearly. He says that 24 Akbar Road refers to the headquarters of the All India Congress Committee. He has specifically mentioned that in this particular questionnaire that has a big part of this entire IT report. So several such details which have been explained by PV Sunil, which would make it very difficult for the Congress Party to actually explain. But the bigger question is that if there is a process of a notice being issued, then certainly they should go and put across their point of view, rather than, of course, leading to the situation where for several months altogether, those notices have remained unanswered.
Okay, viewers, now it's very important to note this. The cover page of this entire report talks about unaccounted cash. This is not an assessment. This is not money that has been declared according to the Income Tax Department. And Bhavtosh, that is really the operative term. It's unaccounted. And let's look at the flowchart once before I bring you in. Bhavtosh, Nikunj is also here with us. Govind, who is outside Kamal Nath's residence, who is, I'm being told, watching this broadcast, formulating some sort of a response as we speak. Prashant outside the Congress headquarters there. But just very quickly, viewers, look at this. There is a Hyderabad firm. We are not naming the firm right now because we have not got an official response back from them. We have sent out, of course, a letter to this Hyderabad firm seeking responses to what the Income Tax Department has come out with. We are hoping to get that. The moment we get that response, we will declare the name of this company. It has 3 directors, and these 3 directors, using an ingenious method, were funneling money to PV Sunil, the alleged cash courier. So this is an individual who is the courier of this cash, and he then goes and deposits this money at the Congress headquarters, and the delivery is taken by TM Varghese. There you can see at the bottom of your screens, to the right of your TV sets, viewers, TM Varghese, cashier, AICC. Now, this is all that has been confessed by PV Sunil to the income tax authorities. There is also digital evidence corroborating this statement. What is that digital evidence? It's WhatsApp details, Bhavtosh, isn't it? And geotag locations. So just talk us through some of the evidence and, of course, the boss tokens that typify Hawala transactions that have been recovered.
Well, Rahul, this is a typical case of illegal money transaction where notes were in fact cut, and the combination of notes were then shown, and cash payments were made. This is also a very thorough and professional investigation by the Income Tax Department, because they did not only rely on the statements that were given by suspects or by individuals in this case, but they also geotag the location. They have details of WhatsApp calls, they have details of WhatsApp chats, and with that they can pinpoint exactly who was present, where and when. Now, the fact is that Tax Department had in fact on 4th of May 2019 recommended that there should be an inquiry conducted by Central Bureau of Investigation. What is most intriguing is the fact that even after 18 months, CBI has not filed any case. This is also a fit case for to be pursued by another federal probe agency, that is Enforcement Directorate, because shell companies have been used, Hawala transaction has happened, and the poll panel was also given a report by the Income Tax Department. The facts are that around 17.9 crore rupees was given to 87 Congress candidates when they fought election in December of 2018. And also, very importantly, 10 Lok Sabha candidates were given anywhere between 25 lakh to 50 lakh rupees. Now, these are the findings of Income Tax Department. And it's high time, because the final report has been submitted, it's high time that CBI as well as Enforcement Directorate should take up the income tax report and file their own cases and carry out the investigation.
This is very interesting. Nikunj, according to Bhavtosh, and of course I'll get in the political reaction in just a few moments, Govind is there right outside Kamal Nath's house, and of course we have our reporter Prashant outside the Congress headquarters. But I just want to bring you in on this, because you look at some of the functioning of the central agencies. Now, why do you believe that the CBI and the Enforcement Directorate are yet to get into this entire investigation, given the fact that this report was prepared in October, about 4 weeks back?
Well, Rahul, it's not highly unusual. Sometimes it does happen that the Central Bureau of Investigation, or particularly the ED, which is custodian of only one of the Penal Offences Act under the Indian jurisdiction, which is the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, takes some time after the income tax prepares its reports. It has happened in the past that once the income tax has come up, it has also happened very, very recently in a case involving Air India Boeing purchase deal, in which the entire investigation of the CBI only took shape, including the registration of the preliminary inquiry on the basis of a report prepared by the income tax department. So I'm quite sure they're going through the report and they would find the necessary penal provisions in the acts that they are custodian of, the Central Bureau of Investigation being the custodian of Prevention of Corruption Act and ED being the custodian of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. And subsequently, I'm quite sure, because this is not a small sum of money, and this is, as you have pointed out, Bhavtosh has pointed out, an incredibly detailed investigation. It is not something that can be brushed aside or can be put under a carpet and said that, look here, these are all guesswork and this is only based on certain statements recorded by certain individuals which can always be retracted in front of a court, and therefore we are going to challenge it in a court of law. There are asymmetric details, I would say, available in terms of the work that the income tax has done so far in this compared to what income tax usually goes, and it is only because of the fact, as you were pointing out, that this is not an assessment of an SSC. In fact, here it is almost impossible to find who is the SSC. Is Mr. Kamal Nath an SSC? Is the All India Congress Party an SSC? Or other individuals named are the SSC? This is an investigation into unaccounted wealth or unaccounted cash of over 100 crore rupees. And according to the income tax department, their allegation obviously is completely their allegation. It stems from their investigation, which they think is fairly stout and can withstand the scrutiny in a court of law. Were the Congress Party or any of the individuals named or the companies named in this go to a court of law, this is the case of the income tax department, that this is certainly unaccounted cash. There is no mention of it in any books anywhere. It has not gone through the legitimate process of assessment and tax for the tax purposes, and that is the crisis here that is staring in the face to the Congress Party right now.
That really is the cover of this entire report. It says unaccounted, generation and use. So the generation first, and then the use of unaccounted cash. How do you generate cash? According to this income tax department investigation, viewers, which was completed on the 15th of October this year, that's about last month, what they're saying is that a large number of private companies, other donors were either pressured or called upon to donate to the Congress Party. Money was taken in and then the money was not declared. Now, under the RPA, the Representation of People's Act, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nikunj, you have to make all sorts of declarations of the amounts of money that you receive. Madhav, you'll bear me out on this one. That money, then once you declare it, obviously the tax authorities are aware of it. It is also very, very crucial for the Election Commission to know how much money you're receiving, especially during the time of elections, so that they know that the ceiling that is fixed on campaign finances is not being breached. So all of this is very, very important, viewers. And if you're not even declaring the money that you're getting in, then it's a problem. And I just want you to pay attention. Nizam bhai, just pull out those graphics which show you the testimony and the entry. So the entry is being made there. You can see, viewers, the testimony of Mr. Sunil, who is one of the couriers of this cash to the Congress headquarters. He says, yes, I delivered on such and such date this amount of money. The seized cash log then corroborates that information. There is also, of course, geotag data, geolocation tag data, which shows Mr. Sunil on that particular date, at a particular time, at the Congress headquarters, depositing the money, because that money in the log is shown as an entry, and Mr. Sunil is there making that entry. So it becomes, as Nikunj was saying, a very, very difficult case for the Congress Party to just sweep under the carpet. And yes, viewers, and we are breaking this next aspect of the report that we haven't put out as yet. More details coming out. This news break is getting bigger by the moment. Madhav is there with us. A total of 6 summons were issued by the tax department, Madhav, the tax department sought the Congress book of audits for 3 years between 2016 and 2019. The Congress representative appears thrice between November 5 and November 26, 2019, precisely a year back in time. The Congress representative, instead of proffering reasons, proffering a response, sought reasons as to why they were being suspected within their rights to do so. The tax department then issues a show cause with the reasons, Madhav, to the party. But the party says that the Congress party gives them books, but without these entries. This is very strange.
Well, that's what also, Rahul, corroborates the fact that it's not something that's happened overnight. As you yourself mentioned, the first summons went out over a year ago, and this is something that has happened over a period of time. Why the Congress party refused to answer those summons, whether they, or why several summons, not one or two, but as you mentioned, at least 4 to 6 summons actually that you mentioned were actually given in this particular case. Look at the dates. The dates over here are 31st of October 2019, and they were asked to provide the book of accounts. Over here, on the 5th of November, this was responded to, saying that they have asked for time to furnish the details. This is as far as the first summons is concerned. Then it happens that on the 18th of November, there is a reminder that is sent. The response coming in on the 22nd of November is that they have sought reason to suspect the suppression. This is the second summons that we're talking about. Moving on the 22nd of November, again a reminder goes where the Congress is told not assessment but investigation. The appeal then is that they again sought the reason to suspect the suppression. This is as far as the third summons is concerned. The show cause notice then goes out on the 4th of December, where the Congress is told that the reason to suspect suppression can't be provided, to which the response comes on the 4th of December itself, that the Congress responds to the show cause by submitting a book of accounts. Now, this is as far as the fourth such proceeding is concerned. There's another summons sent on the 12th of December, where the tax department states that the book of accounts submitted is not complete in nature. The response on the 2nd of January is that the tax department has alleged that the Congress refused to provide complete details. That's a response coming in over here. And beyond that, in February 2020, the IT department summoned Congress thrice, including the treasurer of the party. The response to that is that it has not answered summons, neither provided complete book of accounts. So this is all as per the reports, Rahul, that we are quoting over here.
Very strange.
And it's those responses. And I just want to take one quick minute to make you understand where the Election Commission also comes in this. Remember that as per the Representation of People Act, it's not just the IT department that political parties who are registered have to file their accounts with. They have to file their accounts also with the Election Commission within a stipulated period of time. And apart from the regular accounts, they have to give 2 specific reports. One is an expenditure report and the other is a receipt report. And if these particular sums of money were not part of the receipt reports, then what kind of action can potentially the Election Commission take in this entire case is also going to be very interesting to find out, Rahul.
Very interesting. Yes, very, very interesting. Look, there has been a claim, and let's look at the next graphic in this. Congress books are not tallying, apparently, according to the Income Tax Department. That's the next graphic. Just look at this, viewers. What you're seeing on your left are the transactions of 2016-17 as per the seized material when the searches were conducted. AICC transactions as per the seized material, you can see a number of transactions to the left of your screens. But the coupon collection ledger shows a completely different set of entries. They are not corroborated even according to the date. So the dates are differing, the entries are differing. Prashant, what is really going on here? Govind is waiting outside Kamal Nath's residence. We've got an initial response from Kamal Nath's inner circle. I'll break that in just a few moments. But Prashant, what is going on? What is the Congress, what are they saying about this? This has now been about an hour. We've been breaking this story. We've put out fresh details here. Does the Congress believe it's above question? It doesn't have a case to answer to the Income Tax Department. It doesn't think it's incumbent upon it to submit the details that are being requested. Why?
Well, Rahul, I've been trying to get in touch with a lot of Congress leaders, but most of them are either not speaking to us, or some of us, in fact, said that perhaps once you break the story, we'll assess the story, we'll watch it, and it's only after then that we will decide to, react on it. In fact, once I did that, once the story went on air and I called them back for a response, they said that they just don't want to react to it. Some of us didn't even pick my call up. So clearly the Congress has gone into a hiding. The Congress has no responses to give as of now. But one leader who I spoke to was very plainly, in fact, he put words back into my mouth saying, why is the income tax department not, investigating how the BJP headquarters were made? So I told him to speak on record, to give such statements on record, but then again the Congress leaders are not speaking on this. They are saying that perhaps we will speak at an appropriate time, but for now, no responses have come from the Congress party.
Okay, I'm going to bring in Nikunj in just a few moments, but we're joined by Dr. Subramanian Swamy also on this particular story. Govind is standing by because we're getting some responses from Kamal Nath's inner circle. Dr. Swamy, you, of course, been continuing with your own investigation as well as your own court case as far as the Herald scam is concerned. You brought the attention of the alleged Herald scam to the Income Tax Department. Here now, the Income Tax Department looking at unaccounted cash that has been delivered at the Congress headquarters. What do you make of this, sir?
Well, I'm not at all surprised. I must congratulate your channel for having at least brought it out in public. You know that there have been cases in the past where billions of dollars have been disclosed by people who have nothing to do with the Congress party. And there was one case in Pune, which is still pending. And there have been in 2001 in June, Rahul Gandhi was caught in Boston airport with $160,000 in cash. So this cash and this participatory notes and the Hawala, these have been playing havoc. And I think this is a beginning of the end if you take it to its logical end. I think you should publish what you have got without hesitation. There's no national security issues involved. There's no Official Secrets Act involved in this. This is something that we have made a pledge to the people that we will expose and recover the money that has been hanging around unaccounted all over the place.
Well, big claim by Dr. Subramanian Swamy on Rahul Gandhi and the past. But here, of course, all of this is being borne out, Dr. Swamy, by the Income Tax Department itself. Now, the entire report is with Times Now. 408-page dossier, 106 crore cash for a coterie around the Gandhi family. This is the second investigation by the Income Tax Department after the Herald case. How do you see this planning out?
Yeah, well, it is, and I think more is expected because these have been collecting dust for some time. I know about it, and let it come out. This is the best way. This is all the people's money, and I think we must bring it out. And I think channels like yours play a very extremely important role because of your long established record in this field, and as well as the fact that you have such a wide viewership. I think you must take it to its logical end, and certainly the moment it is published, I will certainly immediately file a PIL in the Supreme Court asking for a monitored investigation of the same.
Well, this is very interesting because thanks, Dr. Swamy. Thank you for those encouraging words. Yes, a big expose. And this is going to get bigger. At 9 o'clock, Navika Kumar on the News Hour is bringing out some more big facts, viewers. The conclusions will absolutely shock you. This is a major investigation. This doesn't date back into the past. This is not some skeleton that is being pulled out from the Rajiv Gandhi era or from even the UPA era. This is very, very recent. This is about happenings in Madhya Pradesh under the then Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, Mr. Kamal Nath. This is a time period of the last 2.5 years at different levels. At one time, Kamal Nath there was the head of the Congress unit. At another time, he was the Chief Minister. So this entire investigation covers a period of about 3.5 years. Govind here with us, Nikunj Garg standing by. Govind, I want to bring you in. Court-monitored investigation is what Dr. Subramanian Swamy hopes to also bring by filing a PIL into this. It'll be very interesting because he'll probably appeal to the government to institute immediately a CBI investigation. But you have been talking to people in the inner circle of Mr. Kamal Nath. What can you tell us, Govind? What's the response coming?
Yeah, absolutely, Rahul. Just before, I just confronted few of those who are the Kamalnath's close head, including the ex-minister Sajjan Singh Verma and the KK Mishra. KK Mishra said that it's nothing but a kind of forgery, a kind of attack,
Yes.
indirect attack on Kamalnath by the agencies, and Kamalnath is desperately being targeted by these agencies. That is why this game is continued there. As you know that this dossier comprises 408 pages. On the page number 259, there are desperately the names of Kamalnath's close aide, Mr. Kakkar and Miglani. And right now, we just having the sources information that Mr. Miglani, Mr. Kakkar, Mr. Kamalnath, all three are there inside this house. And
Govind,
just,
what you're telling us is that Mr. Meglani, Mr. Kakkar, who are named in this investigation, are possibly meeting with Mr. Kamalnath. They are trying to decide their strategy going forward. Yes, viewers, this particular report is in black and white. It's with Times Now. It is very detailed. It has, to the last second and minute, geolocated, geotagged details of individuals and their movements which link up to the deposition of cash. That's how detailed this is. Govind giving us big news. Govind, अगर आप मुझे बता सकते हैं कि कब तक कमलनाथ साहब और उनके जो सहपाठी हैं वो बाहर आएंगे और एक स्टेटमेंट जारी करेंगे आपको।
देखिए राहुल, अभी कमलनाथ के साथ जिनकी मीटिंग होनी थी, जीतू पटवारी हों, उनको हमने कोशिश की कि उनसे इस बारे में बातचीत की जाए। सवाल पूछा उनसे कि अनअकाउंटेड कैश की डिलीवरी का रिकॉर्ड आईटी रेट्स में सामने आता है AICC में, तो वो एक मजाकिया लहजे में कुछ भी बोलते हुए निकल गए। और उसके बाद जो एक्स मिनिस्टर हैं उनसे बात की तो उन्होंने कुछ नहीं बोला। वहीं KK मिश्रा से बात की तो उनका कहना था कि कमलनाथ को डेस्परेटली टारगेट किया जा रहा है मध्य प्रदेश में असेंबली इलेक्शन के बाद ही। और अभी उम्मीद की जा रही है
Mishra that Govind is referring to on the broadcast. We just caught up with one of those individuals who was going into, I think, the residence of Mr. Kamalnath for that meeting before as the news was breaking at around 7 o'clock. Let's listen in, viewers.
मीटिंग नहीं है, हमारे लीडर बहुत दिनों में भोपाल आए हैं, दिल्ली प्रवास पर थे। आज कुछ लोगों से मुलाकात है और मैं भी सौजन्य मुलाकात के लिए आया हूँ।
सर, आईटी रेट डेवलपमेंट को लेकर नए खुलासे हो रहे हैं और टाइम्स नाउ के हाथ एक 408 पेजेस का डोसियर लगा है। उसमें ये खुलासा हुआ है कि AICC हेडक्वार्टर दिल्ली कैशियर के जरिए करीब 106 करोड़ रुपए कमलनाथ जी ने भेजे हुए हैं, कमलनाथ के यहाँ से गए हुए हैं। तो इसको लेकर
विधानसभा चुनाव में भी माननीय कमलनाथ जी भाजपा के टारगेट पे थे, आज भी हैं और उन सबका जवाब देंगे।
तो आपको लगता है कि ये जानबूझकर इस तरह की
पूरी तरह राजनीतिक आधार पर भारतीय जनता पार्टी हमारे सीनियर लीडर जो हमारे चेहरे हैं उनको बदनाम करने की कोशिश कर रही है। और
सर, इतनी बड़ी बड़ी एजेंसीज हैं, आईटी डिपार्टमेंट है, इतना जिम्मेदार महकमा है, तो इस तरह के खुलासे वहाँ से सामने आते हैं तो कहाँ सको शुबा की गुंजाइश रह जाती है।
यही भारतीय जनता पार्टी है जिसने बोफोर्स का आरोप राजीव गांधी जी पर लगाया था और 6 सरकारें आ गई, आज तक साबित नहीं कर पाए।
Well, which on charge? Gaurav Bhatia, which on charge being made by Kamal Nath, the Congress party inner circle? They're saying that look at the Bofors case. So much heat was drummed up around the Bofors case, ended up nowhere. This is yet another attempt to target a Congress leader, to target the Congress party, to somehow enmesh the Gandhi family, to bring disrepute to the Gandhi family. That's the charge that is being made by Kamal Nath's inner circle meeting going on at his residence. A very big story. But could you respond to that? Because even now, the CBI or the ED haven't filed a case. I'll bring in Nikunj on that. But Mr. Bhatia, your first response. Mr. Bhatia, the national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Go ahead.
Rahul, first of all, I must congratulate Times Now channel for this huge revelation. And it doesn't surprise us. For the reason Congress today is synonymous to corruption. And I still remember when Narendra Modi ji was campaigning before the Lok Sabha elections, your channel at that time also had broken a similar scam. And Modi ji ने कहा था कि बोरे में नोट भर भर के आ रहे हैं और कांग्रेस हेडक्वार्टर जा रहे हैं। और आज ये बात साबित हो गई है कि चौकीदार प्योर है और गांधी परिवार ही चोर है। एंड राहुल, it pains us because Congress has become such a shameless party that they don't even think that they owe an apology to the country. They owe an explanation to the people of Madhya Pradesh, who are actually heaving a sigh of relief that Kamal Nath, the Bhrashtachari Kamal Nath, has gone now. And one more thing I want to point out to the viewers. You know, all this unaccounted money in cash has been coming from welfare schemes meant for children who are suffering from malnutrition. This was also pointed out by your channel. Now, when you say they are saying crying foul and saying political vendetta, Rahul, they said political vendetta in the Augusta Westland case also. What happened? Did the court quash any charge sheet? They said the same when Robert Vadra's links were probed in the Bikaner land scam. National Herald case, Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi both are out on bail. When they said political vendetta, I challenged the Congress to show even one court interfering and quashing the charge sheet or the FIR. The court did not. What does it prove? Congress feels it is their birthright to loot the common people of the country, to loot away the taxpayers' money meant for welfare schemes.
Okay.
And I must say that this time there is a lot of corroborative material which, when tested in the court of law, will name the Gandhi Parivar and the Congress.
Okay, let me bring in Ashutosh Mishra, senior journalist. Chaukidar pure hai, Gandhi Parivar chor hai, says the BJP. How are you responding to this?
You know, normally the income tax department proceedings are in camera and private. Why has the income tax department now decided to have this medieval jurisprudence of public inquisition? The answer is very simple. I mean, it does not want to go through the normal rigmarole of legal process, because this public trial will serve the purpose of the political bosses in maligning the opposition. And it will be much tougher of proving all this in court of law. It's very obvious from the statements of the BJP spokesperson. What has happened? Has any cash been caught? No. Is this story provable in court of law? We will see. Till then, it is unsubstantiated. There is no substance. It's unsubstantiated.
Okay, but Mr. Mishra, I remember when Dr. Subramanian Swamy began to ask questions which were inconvenient of the Congress party in connection with the National Herald scam. The same line that you are pushing today on Times Now was relied upon by the Congress High Command. In fact, if you just go back, they said that this was vendetta, witch hunt, fishing expedition. But this matter, in court, the Gandhis have suffered a couple of legal blows in the National Herald case also. So it doesn't seem to be borne out. The income tax department, and I've shown all the, the documents, the other evidence that is corroborative in nature. How can we constantly say that everything has been cooked up, drummed up, Mr. Mishra?
My first line was that income tax department proceedings are usually private or in camera. Now, the very fact that you are coming public means you are not sure where you stand in court of law. So
let me bring in one second. Let me bring in Nikunj on this. Nikunj, I remember the Jain Hawala diaries. I remember the Jain Hawala diaries. The Jain Hawala diaries were out there in public. In fact, at that time, Mr. L.K. Advani took a very principled stand and said, look, till I don't get a clean chit, I will give up politics, active politics. And he did. He didn't stand for any office. Didn't stand for any election till his name was cleared. You've had other diaries that have come out, other, inquiries that have been made or reports prepared by the income tax department. And when those have come out and they have shown that the money trail allegedly leads to the BJP's highest offices, and I can tell you on the tip of my fingers the name of at least 3 diaries, the Sahara diaries, the Jain Hawala diaries. When it leads to the tip of the BJP High Command, then this is used as ammunition. But when the reverse happens, then the Congress gets very touchy, Nikunj.
Well, Rahul, there are 2 fundamental flaws in the arguments being pushed on your show right now. And one is that if the income tax department proceedings have to be in private, in camera, as is being argued. Remember, Rahul, this is not an assessment of a lawful SSE, which has found something fundamentally wrong, and therefore leakage of that also probably can be construed as some kind of a violation of the rights of that particular individual.
Right.
This is an investigation into unaccounted generation of funds and their parking or usage by the income tax department. There is no SSE. In fact, the department itself right now, it appears to me, is not clear who is the SSE, Mr. Kamal, Nath, Congress party, or other individuals named in this. Point number 2 is, apropos the fact that they are saying that income tax department has, it is being pointed, or it is being indicated at least, has selectively leaked it. Now, if the income tax department or the government were to do it, they would have done it ahead of the Madhya Pradesh assembly elections, in which case they would have probably got some kind of political mileage out of this entire expose. What's the purpose of them leaking then? So it is at any point in time, any good journalist doing any kind of good journalistic work will always be colored with some kind of political hue or a conspiratorial angle. Now, I don't agree with that at all. Now elections in Madhya Pradesh are over. A government has been formed. What is the gain of anybody engaged in selectively leaking it at this point in time?
That cash has been recovered. It's not as if cash has not been recovered. Mr. Ashutosh, yes, I think Mr. Poonawalla wants to come in. Mr. Poonawalla, go ahead.
Mr. Rahul Shivshankar, you're absolutely right. In fact, 14 crores was recovered in a previous raid by the IT authorities in the year 2019. And in fact, this money was actually stolen from the poorest of the poor. This was taken from government schemes like Posh Ahar. Money was swindled from there, and it was delivered to the AICC, which I call All India Cash Committee or All India Criminal Committee, because of the way they are going after money. But the fundamental question is that, one, why is it that time and again the beneficiary of all of this is one family? Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi have been served an IT notice on the AJL scam also, where 100 crores was swindled off and evaded by tax money. Now also you see Lakshmi Ma comes on a Lotus. Usually she comes on a Lotus, but here the money, the Lakshmi into Congress party is coming on Kamal. And now we have to ask, who is the end beneficiary jiske haath mein ye unaccounted cash gaya? And if Mr. Ashutosh Mishra, your only defense is vendetta, कभी एक कोर्ट में जाकर आप कोई वेंडेटा प्रूव भी तो कर दीजिए. हर समय सिर्फ वेंडेटा अब बहुत पुराना हो चुका है. कांग्रेस पार्टी तो म्यूट पे आ गई है.
Okay, I think Subhrashtra
they are not answering only.
Okay, Subhrashtra wants to come in, and so does Dr. Raman and Tanvi Pruthi. Yes, Subhrashtra, go ahead.
Rahul ji, I think on your show and many other shows from now on, there will be a term called witch hunt that will be used to label this entire exercise as a political vendetta. I just want to quantificate a little bit on the crux of that word, and I'm sure the rest of the arguments will be made, has already been made by the panel, in fact. Look, when women were being targeted specifically, that's the context that one is being used. But we must understand that the subversive activity of the Congress, where they held national interest at ransom for a political corporation, a private held corporation in their own organization, I think the real attack is there, and people are rattled because Kamal Nath, who has actually been the financial guardian of the Congress party, has come under scanner. One small point, Rahulji. Investigative journalists in this country should actually look at the timeline that Kamal Nath ruled in Madhya Pradesh for a very short period of time earlier, and let us look at how this kind of money was actually siphoned off. Because I'm pretty sure that it has bearing on taxpayers' money. Let me tell you, this unaccounted cash does not come from, private people who are totally generous towards the Congress and have put it unaccounted money there. Let's really look at how financial misappropriation would have happened in that very short period of time. A couple of RTIs, and I'm sure journalists at times now would be able to do a fantastic job. This is not my hinge. Being a person who has been close to bureaucracy and politics, I can tell you that this is where the money has come from, and the trail needs to be established.
Dr. Raman, this is an important point that is being made. Of course, we don't want to conduct any sort of media trial here. That is not the That is not, in fact, the intention. We're just bringing out facts that have come to our notice because of the income tax report that we have accessed. I just wanted to ask you, this entire privacy angle that Dr. Mishra was sort of trying to foist upon us, that lies completely negated, because this is about undeclared, undisclosed finances. This is unaccounted wealth. This is not the assessment that Rahul Gandhi or Sonia Gandhi made, which were declared to be an underassessment, and therefore you could even say that, look, you can't go into the details of an assessee. This has got nothing to do with that.
Rahul, I won't call this a witch hunt. I will call this purely propaganda for public consumption.
But sir, money has been recovered.
Track record. Let me finish. I have not even spoken 2 sentences. I remember sitting on a debate right here on this channel about Bofors, that some boxes were there and they were going to be opened, and once they were opened, the whole truth would come out. This was about 3.5 years ago. 2 years ago, D.K. Shivakumar, after the raids on him, huge Hawala money unearthed. This is the money that has gone to AICC.
Yes.
Huge. Congress party is in serious trouble. 2018, if I remember, it was September or something, but generally 2 years have gone. Then 2019, December, 170 crore Hawala funding to Congress party unearthed. ED sends notice or IT sends notice, something. That was, I think, in December.
No, get your facts right. Don't say something. This is not something. Look, there are 3 investigations that are going on. I want to bring in Nikunj. Nikunj, I think,
Now,
Doctor.
My question is, when are you going to be doing the debate on the 171 crore worth electoral bonds that were bought in Mumbai to fund before in the run-up to the Bihar elections? When is that story? Times Now is going to get any exclusive information on that?
Okay.
Let me guess you won't.
Okay, so this is Dr. Sumansi Raman asking the Bharatiya Janata Party.
I'm calling it pure and simple propaganda.
Okay, propaganda. He's saying it's a complete propaganda. It doesn't matter to him that money has been recovered from individuals close to Mr. Kamal Nath, allegedly. The Income Tax Department making that disclosure.
For the last 2.5 years, remember that Mr. Ahmed Patel was...
Well, let me tell you, sir. Let me tell you. When Mr. Chidambaram...
Even the Bakul Nath Ratul Puri investigation is propaganda.
When Mr. Chidambaram and his son, Mr. Karti Chidambaram...
Everything is propaganda.
...were questioned, when they were picked up for questioning, that was also vendetta. If a case progresses, it's vendetta. If it doesn't progress,
I'm not calling it vendetta. I'm not calling it
it's propaganda. Okay.
This is pure and simple propaganda.
Okay, so propaganda meets vendetta.
To amplify these stories.
Tonight, propaganda has met vendetta. Vendetta or propaganda? Okay, let's put these 2 words together.
It's purely propaganda.
Okay, propaganda. Mr. Bhatia, propaganda. He's saying, what about 171 crore electoral bonds?
For 3 years, why are they not opened?
Okay, let's respond. Respond, Mr. Bhatia.
Rahul, today 2 top types of arguments have been made on your program in Congress's defense, though their spokespersons haven't come out. One is purely technical and it has been answered by Nikunj, and the second one is talking about electoral bonds, and I'll come to that. But before that, let me make it very clear that in this case, the corroborative evidence that is available, one, there are diary entries which have to be explained. Second, there were earlier statements recorded under Section 131 of IT Act, Income Tax Act, which are very, very important when a trial takes place. Third is the geolocation of all these persons who are transferring funds to the Congress party.
But that's known. That's for the Indian. That's for the Income Tax Department to prove at some point. Tanvi Pruthi is also there. But Mr. Bhatia, the specific question to you is that explain why this is not a witch hunt. Why aren't we seeing the ED and the CBI coming into this, for example, with alacrity, picking up, filing a case and prosecuting?
Yeah. Rahul, can I respond?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Rahul, say if the ED and the CBI would have come in the picture before, these very people would have cried foul and they would have said, see, this is political vendetta. But I must say that it is for the courts to rule whether it is political vendetta or not. I gave 3 or 4 examples. I can cite many more. You know, when an investigating agency or the IT department is doing its job, till it is proven otherwise. These people saying it is political vendetta would not hold the ground. And second, on electoral bonds, I would request you, the matter is seized with the Supreme Court, but you can have a debate, a meaningful one, and the BJP representative would be there, and we will expose these people.
Well, I'm taking a very short break, viewers.
Today, this debate is not on electoral bonds.
1 second, gentlemen, hold your fire. I'm coming right back after this short break to Tanvi Pruthi and also Dr. Suman C. Raman, who has brought up the issue of electoral bonds that were used in another election, in the Bihar election. Right now, I'm just coming back to that, viewers. Stay with us. More breaking news on this story coming up. Don't go away. Viewers, if you're just tuning into Times Now's India Upfront, we can tell you that the Income Tax Department that has issued show cause notices to the Congress party suspects that the Congress party was gathering unaccounted money which was being funneled into the accounts of the Congress party, and the money was received in at least 3 tranches. More than 100 crores were brought and deposited at the Akbar Road office, the Congress headquarters, over a period of about 2.5 to 3 years by an individual who was receiving this money from a Hyderabad-based company. Now, I want to bring in Tanvi Pruthi. Tanvi Pruthi, so far, the Congress party has come out and said that this reeks of vendetta, this entire investigation. Times Now has accessed the more than 400-page dossier of the Income Tax Department that substantiates using electronic digital data as well as affidavits this transfer of unaccounted money to the Congress headquarters. What do you have to say?
I have to say that my fellow panelists have used the term witch hunt and Raman sir has used the term propaganda. I will go a step further and call it Jumla. Because this is nothing short of that.
On what basis are you saying this?
How many times has Rahul Shivshankar questioned the government or put
excuse me, Ms. Pruthi, on what basis? 1 second, on what basis are you saying this is a Jumla? Can you give me 3 reasons?
Let me just begin with my argument.
No, 1 second. Give me the 3 reasons.
Allow me 2 minutes. Rahul.
No, 1 second. Ms. Pruthi, give me just 3 reasons why you believe this is a Jumla. You made a strong accusation against the Income Tax Department, implying that the Income Tax Department is under pressure to fix the Congress party or to float all sorts of misinformation. This is a report. Why do you believe? Give me 3 reasons that this report amounts to nothing in your point of view. Just give me 3 reasons.
Rahul, because we have seen on so many of your news outbreaks and they were all Jumlas. How many people have gone behind bars because of corruption? 6 years of Modi government.
Can I
Mr. Bhatia said, give me one case where we have struck down the charges have been repealed. Let me remind him. The Vadra land deal in Haryana, the Khatara government was not able to prove the charges and the High Court has set aside the report. So let me
But that is one case.
Secondly,
respond, please.
That's one case. I'll tell you. The Gandhis are out on bail. Would you not agree, Tanvi Pruthi? 1 second, Tanvi Pruthi, aren't the Gandhis out on bail in the Herald case? Are they or are they not?
Okay, please answer. Where is the...
No, I'm asking you. Are the Gandhis out on bail? You said who has gone to jail? Mr. Chidambaram went to jail. He came out on bail. The Gandhis are out on bail. Let me ask you another question. Mr. Kamal Nath's nephew happens to be... No, 1 second, was arrested. So what are you talking about? I'm asking you to be substantive here.
Give me 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds and then you can make your rebuttal. We have seen all of these outbreaks and I will give you a very
I think you're mixing up COVID. This is not an outbreak. This is a news break. And this is a news break. No, 1 second. Based on certain documents. We're not talking about outbreaks here. 1 minute. Tanvi Pruthi, please. You said how many people... Can you...
Give me 30 seconds to prove that this is your Jumla.
Not my Jumla. The Income Tax Department.
Rahul, can I please come on?
You are being the mouthpiece of the government right now. You are being the mouthpiece of the government.
So we cannot report So we cannot report the news as it appears. So you cannot put out any income tax report. You cannot put out. No, 1 second. Tanvi Pruthi, just, I think you're just talking through your hat. It's okay. You come unprepared to a debate. You probably don't have your facts. You're not well researched. You don't know what you're saying. So attack the anchor, attack the channel. I don't want to get into this tutu meme. Please, when you come out with something substantive, raise your hand and I'll come to you. Let's not get into this nightly tutu meme with somebody who doesn't know. Unfortunately, their facts, they can't tell you whether it's an outbreak or a news break. Sorry, get your facts right. Come back, make a point, substantive, and I'll take you on. Yes, now I want to move on very quickly to Mr. Bhatia. Mr. Bhatia, sum and substance, a large number of people are having a problem accepting this as a credible investigation. You need to respond to them.
Yeah. So first, responding to Pruthi. Pruthi, you said who has been arrested. Let me tell you, P. Chidambaram was arrested, D.K. Shivkumar was arrested, all on corruption charges. Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi are out on bail, and bail is granted by the court.
Wow.
So it is that after arrest, a bail is given, and there are two kinds of offences. I can't give you the details here. Second point is, she's talking about Supreme Court judgment. Let me tell you, there is a Supreme Court judgment directing a CBI probe to be conducted when Huda was the chief minister, and there is a land scam there. This is ordered by the Supreme Court. Now, on vendetta, witch hunt, all these are very beautiful terms.
Well, Lalu Prasad Yadav gone to jail. P. Chidambaram went to jail out on bail. His son Karti Chidambaram out on bail. The Gandhis out on bail.
Nothing more to say.
Several individuals in connection with the Augusta scam are in jail. There have been... No, 1 second. Let me bring in Nikunj. Nikunj, this whole question of no one goes to jail. You see, these investigations amount to nothing. These are just fishing expeditions. Can you please illuminate some of our panel here as to how many people have actually gone to jail from Kashmir down today to Kerala, even in the gold scam? Let's talk about it.
Can arrest anybody as part of the investigation.
Sir, nothing is good enough for you. Nothing is good enough. Court process is not good enough. It's vitiated. Investigative agency, no, investigations are vitiated. People who have ongoing cases are being fixed. At this rate, we will never have any accountability. Let everyone come, loot, go home, scot-free. Don't need to answer any questions. It doesn't make a difference to anybody. But you can keep making accusations against Modi, call him a chowkidar, haul him up, foist cases, and even when he is given a reprieve, you still continue to doubt. This doesn't work that way. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Make up your mind, sir. Either you are for institutionalism, constitutional, or you're not. If you're not, it's okay. You can come and, throw whatever muck you want to on any national news channel. No problem, depending on which side of the fence you're on. Nikunj, very quickly, before I wrap up. Yes, very quickly, you have a minute. Nikunj. Nikunj.
Yeah, Rahul, all I'm saying is that these people, when it suits them, want to append the entire criminal jurisprudence on its head. The fact is that cases have progressed in the court. Cases including their own leaders, have gone to High Court and Supreme Court after being arrested to get bail. I mean, this is how the criminal jurisprudence moves in this country. We can't have another set of rules for the Congress party or the opposition leaders as they are now claiming to have. The problem here is recoveries have been made, individuals have been interrogated, individuals have been put behind bars, they have moved superior courts to seek bail. If they were not wrong, they shouldn't have gone to High Court and Supreme Court after being turned down by the lower courts. This is the usual process of the criminal jurisprudence taking its time. If it doesn't take its time, then again you will say that our cases have been fast-tracked and our leaders are being targeted in a fast-track court, while the others are not being, other cases are languishing. So it's just never ending argument.
Straight here, he is not in any way partisan. I'm taking a very short break. We are right back with the top stories. Don't go away.